Do you feel the weight of silence pressing against your skin? Do you recognize the hollow echo of empty rooms that seem to whisper of an isolation deeper than mere physical absence? There is a landscape within you where loneliness dwells not as a temporary visitor but as a permanent resident, a shadow companion crafted from the earliest fragments of your emotional existence. Imagine your inner world as a vast, dimly lit mansion where corridors of unspoken yearning stretch endlessly, where each locked door represents a connection never formed, a relationship never nurtured. Your solitude is not a choice but a complex architecture built carefully through years of subtle psychological mechanisms. It is a defense constructed by an invisible architect within you, a guardian of your most vulnerable self who believes that isolation protects you from the potential wounds of human connection. Every moment of withdrawal becomes another brick in this intricate wall, every suppressed desire for companionship another layer of insulation against the perceived dangers of intimacy. The roots of this loneliness often burrow deep into the fertile soil of childhood experiences. Perhaps there was a moment when vulnerability was met with dismissal, when a tender emotional need was ignored or ridiculed. These moments create invisible scars that whisper continuously in the chambers of your unconscious, warning against future attempts at closeness. Your inner child remembers these wounds with a precision that rational thought cannot comprehend, and so it orchestrates an elaborate dance of avoidance, of self-protection. And if these words awaken something inside you right now, allow yourself to respond with a small gesture of presence, maybe a like or a brief reflection. And if you feel that this journey speaks to something deep within you, subscribe so we can continue exploring these inner landscapes together. Within the theater of your inner world, loneliness performs as both protagonist and antagonist. It is not merely an absence of people but a complex emotional landscape filled with rich, turbulent narratives. Imagine your unspoken desires as characters trapped behind heavy velvet curtains, their voices muffled but persistently alive. They long to step onto the stage of human connection, yet are held back by intricate psychological mechanisms that have learned to view potential relationships as threats rather than opportunities. The body carries these unspoken stories in subtle languages of tension and contraction. Muscles tighten, breath becomes shallow, eyes avoid direct contact. These are the silent poetry of social fear. Your nervous system has become a vigilant guardian, scanning every potential interaction for signs of rejection, programmed by past experiences to anticipate pain rather than possibility. Each avoided conversation, each social gathering decline becomes a ritual of self-preservation, a sacred ceremony performed to maintain the illusion of safety. But beneath this carefully constructed facade, a profound longing pulses with an almost desperate intensity. It is the voice of connection that has been systematically silenced, the primal human need for belonging that refuses to be completely extinguished. Like an underground river, it continues to flow, creating subtle erosions in the landscape of your isolation, searching for any crack, any potential pathway to emerge. Your solitude is not a weakness but a complex survival strategy, a delicate ecosystem of emotional protection developed over years of navigating a world that often felt overwhelming and unsafe. Each moment of withdrawal is not a failure but a testament to your psychological resilience, a sophisticated defense mechanism designed to preserve your inner integrity. The landscape of isolation begins to shift, revealing deeper terrain where memory and desire intertwine like roots beneath a forgotten garden. Your solitude is no mere absence but a living organism, breathing with the accumulated memories of every unspoken interaction, every moment of potential connection that dissolved before it could take shape. Imagine your inner world as a vast archive where each unrealized relationship is carefully preserved, not as a wound but as a complex narrative of survival. Childhood emerges as the primordial ground where these emotional patterns first took root. The invisible threads of early experiences weave themselves into the fabric of your present, creating intricate patterns of avoidance that seem to operate with an intelligence beyond conscious control. Perhaps there was a moment of profound vulnerability, a harsh word, a dismissive gesture, a silent rejection that taught your inner self that connection is a dangerous territory fraught with potential annihilation. If you feel these insights stirring something within you, share your voice and support this space with a like. These reflections help others find their way through the same shadows. And if you wish to keep walking with us through these deeper layers of the mind, join us by subscribing. The mechanisms of isolation work like an elaborate defense system, a psychological fortress constructed with remarkable precision. Each avoided social interaction becomes a carefully placed stone in the wall of protection. Your unconscious mind operates like a vigilant guardian, constantly scanning the emotional landscape for potential threats, interpreting human connection as a risk more dangerous than the familiar comfort of solitude. It is a silent war fought in the hidden chambers of your psyche, where every potential relationship is assessed and most are silently dismissed before they can even begin. Trauma whispers through the corridors of your inner world, not as a loud proclamation but as a subtle atmospheric pressure. The rooms of your psychological house are filled with locked doors, each representing a potential connection that was deemed too dangerous to explore. Your nervous system has become a master of subtle evasion, creating elaborate scripts of avoidance that feel so natural they become invisible even to yourself. Social interactions become a complex choreography of minimal engagement, a delicate dance designed to maintain the illusion of connection while preventing any genuine intimacy. The body speaks a language more profound than words. Muscular tensions, shallow breaths, the slight turning away, these are the poetry of your protective mechanism. Your physical self has become a living archive of unspoken stories, each gesture a carefully constructed barrier against potential emotional invasion. The world becomes a landscape of potential threats, and solitude transforms from a state of absence into a sophisticated survival strategy. Yet beneath this intricate defense system, a profound longing continues to pulse. It is the voice of the invisible child within you, the part that still remembers the pure, unguarded desire for connection. Like a subterranean river, this longing continues to flow, creating subtle erosions in the landscape of your isolation. It speaks a language of hope that refuses to be completely silenced, a reminder that beneath the carefully constructed walls of protection, a part of you still yearns for genuine human warmth. Your isolation is not a weakness but a complex emotional intelligence, a sophisticated response to a world that once felt too overwhelming to navigate. Each moment of withdrawal carries within it a profound wisdom, a delicate mechanism of self-preservation that has allowed you to maintain your inner integrity in the face of potential emotional destruction. The shadows converge. A profound darkness unfolds within the innermost chambers of your psychological landscape, where the most intimate truths reside beyond the reach of rational thought. Here, in this twilight realm between memory and nightmare, the true architecture of your isolation reveals itself not as a passive state but as a living, breathing entity with its own terrible intelligence. Imagine your consciousness as a vast theater where unspoken traumas perform their silent play. Each suppressed emotion becomes an actor draped in darkness, moving with a precision that defies understanding. The stage is your inner world, where every unexpressed feeling creates invisible tremors, where every unacknowledged wound generates a complex symphony of survival. Your loneliness is no mere absence but a profound language of protection, an intricate mechanism crafted with the precision of a master architect of the soul. The body becomes a landscape of unspoken narratives. Muscles hold memories like ancient stones holding water, memories of rejection, of moments when vulnerability was met with silence or dismissal. Each contraction, each subtle tension speaks a language more profound than words could ever articulate. Your nervous system has become a guardian of extraordinary sophistication, creating elaborate labyrinths of avoidance that feel as natural as breathing. Childhood memories drift like fragments of a forgotten dream. Moments of potential connection that dissolved before they could take shape whisper through the corridors of your unconscious. The wounds are not visible scars but subtle atmospheric pressures that shape every interaction, every potential relationship. Your inner child watches from the shadows, a silent sentinel who has learned that safety lies in distance, that true protection means never fully exposing the most vulnerable parts of yourself. The landscape of isolation is not a desert but a complex ecosystem. Each avoided conversation, each social gathering decline becomes a ritual of profound self-preservation. Your psychological mechanisms operate with a wisdom that transcends rational understanding. They are not failures but sophisticated survival strategies, intricate defense systems that have protected your most essential self from potential emotional annihilation. Desires and fears dance in a complex choreography. Repressed longings for connection pulse beneath the surface like underground rivers, creating subtle tremors in the landscape of your solitude. The invisible child within continues to breathe, to hope, to dream of connections not yet experienced. It is a persistent whisper that refuses to be completely silenced, a testament to the indestructible nature of human longing. The boundaries between protection and pain blur. Your isolation becomes a living entity, a complex organism that breathes with the accumulated memories of every unspoken interaction. It is both a fortress and a prison, a protective mechanism and a profound limitation. The walls you have constructed are both your greatest defense and your most subtle form of suffering. In this moment of deepest introspection, the true nature of your experience reveals itself. Not as a failure, not as a weakness, but as a profound dialogue between your most vulnerable self and the world that once felt too overwhelming to navigate. Your solitude is a language, a complex emotional intelligence that speaks volumes in its profound silence. The moment of awakening arrives not with violence but with a gentle, profound understanding. Your isolation transforms from a fortress of protection into a landscape of profound self-discovery. The walls you have constructed begin to dissolve, not through destruction but through compassionate recognition. Each layer of defense reveals itself as a testament to your remarkable psychological resilience, a complex mechanism of survival that has protected your most essential self through years of unspoken challenges. Healing emerges as a subtle metamorphosis. The invisible child within you begins to breathe differently, no longer trapped in the confined rooms of past wounds but slowly expanding into a broader, more compassionate inner landscape. Your solitude is not an ending but a beginning, a profound initiation into deeper self-understanding. The mechanisms of isolation reveal themselves not as enemies but as wounded guardians who have been working tirelessly to protect your most vulnerable essence. Imagine your psychological journey as a process of gentle reconciliation. The fragmented parts of yourself begin to communicate, to recognize each other not as separate entities but as intricate components of a complex, beautiful whole. The nervous system that once operated as a vigilant defense now starts to learn a new language of openness, of carefully negotiated vulnerability. Each breath becomes an act of profound self-acceptance, each moment of potential connection and opportunity for transformation. If you feel that this story helped you see your own inner landscape more clearly, offer a like and share your thoughts. And if you want this space to remain part of your journey ahead, subscribe. Together we continue the path of understanding, healing, and awakening. The body becomes a witness to this internal revolution. Muscles that once held tight with fear begin to release their ancient tensions. The breath deepens, finding spaces of relaxation previously unknown. Your nervous system rewrites its old scripts, learning that connection is not a threat but a potential source of nourishment. The landscape of isolation slowly transforms into a landscape of possibility, each moment of potential interaction becoming an opportunity for gentle exploration. Understanding arrives not as a sudden revelation but as a gradual dawning. Your past defense mechanisms are honored for their remarkable intelligence, for the way they have protected your most essential self through challenging times. The shadows of childhood wounds are not banished but integrated, recognized as profound teachers that have guided you to this moment of awakening. Your solitude becomes a sacred space of self-discovery, a complex emotional intelligence that speaks of survival, resilience, and profound inner strength. The invisible threads of connection begin to weave themselves differently. Where once there was only fear, now there is a subtle possibility of openness. The world transforms from a landscape of potential threats to a terrain of potential connections. Your psychological landscape expands, creating space for relationships that honor your depth, your complexity, your remarkable journey of survival and transformation. In this final moment of integration, you recognize the profound beauty of your experience. Your isolation was never a failure but a complex dialogue between your most vulnerable self and the world. It was a sophisticated language of survival, a profound strategy of self-preservation that has brought you to this exact moment of awakening. You are not defined by your solitude but transformed by your understanding of it. The journey continues, always continues. Each breath a testament to your remarkable resilience, each moment an opportunity for deeper connection with yourself and the world around you. If something in these words stirred a truth inside you, don't ignore it. Follow the channel and continue this inner journey with me. You were never meant to walk it alone.